Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Greater You. It's always good to see everybody. I'm Quentin Kemp and the president of the Greater You, and wanted to be here with you guys today to talk about internal work. So, we've got a lot going on here. This is something to think about. This is this hit me today when I was on a long kind of endurance mountain bike ride and just kind of pedaling along and thinking and pondering. I love endurance sports because they give you a chance to kind of shut out other things and just kind of exist and be in the present moment and while you're moving. So it's just a kind of a cool, almost form of meditation. And in fact, I got to say, there is research that's shown that things like, long distance running or even just a long walk and cycling, stuff like that, or a walk in the mountains, really can give you the same benefits of meditation as long as you work on building the mindset up that you are kind of removing distractions and really letting yourself be in the present moment when you're doing the activity. So, this topic actually came up, interestingly and ironically, when I was out there doing my own internal reset today. So, let's talk about what internal work is. This is an important topic, especially in today's society. So if you look at that first list there, avoidance is a pretty standard way of living nowadays. When we're in a place of avoidance, we tend to seek distraction. Obviously, we've got all these things on our phones and everything else that are constantly pinging us, and it's easy to give into those distractions. But we also seek those distractions too in many forms, many forms. Attention seeking behaviors. If we're uncomfortable with the self, sometimes we're seeking attention to fill that. Seeking altered mind states. So this would be substances or, alcohol or things like that that can shift your mind state. I would even throw pornography abuse into that category. Things that people use to alter their mind state because they're not okay with what's going on in the here and now. Seeking escape. Escapism's huge. Escaping constantly into fantasy or escaping constantly into movies or even novels. And I'm not saying that all those things, they all maybe have their place, right? I mean, a good novel is awesome to read. A great movie is super fun. But if we find ourselves just kind of constantly seeking an escape because we're escaping from something, then that's where maybe the internal work needs to happen. Constantly seeking stimulation, of talking to people or messaging people or snapchatting people or whatever it is, got to be moving all the time, can't ever sit still. So if we're seeking distraction, seeking attention, seeking altered mind states, seeking escape and stimulation, and we're doing it in a way where we're really avoiding stuff, there's probably internal work that needs to be done. This is some of the work that our coaches really are specialized in helping people find. What is internal work? It's being able to, or what is the result of internal work? So, internal work itself is, what am I avoiding? What's that stuff that I'm avoiding with distraction and attention or escape or stimulation? It's who am I with when I'm by myself? And are you okay with who you are, right? Are you okay with the person that you're sitting with, yourself? Are you okay with that silence and that quiet? Are you okay with yourself and who you are? So when we've done our internal work, we sit with reality. But to get there, we've got to do the work of being able to be okay with reality. So leaning into our real life, pursuing the real instead of the fabricated all the time. Sure, there is a time and a place where escaping is fun. Playing some D&D with your buddies on a weekend, super fun. Whatever, that's all great. Playing some games and all that kind of stuff. But if we're constantly doing it, right? So the avoidance problem is avoiding the real. The real is what we are in the here and now and who we actually are in this world that we live in, and the jobs that you're working and your interactions and your relationships, that's your real, right? So when we're doing our internal work, we need to become okay with real life, leaning into the here and now and the present moment, becoming okay with stillness, allowing our minds to become still, to sit and meditate. A great book that I recommend everyone reads when you're doing internal work is Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. I absolutely love that book. It's on a short list of, well, maybe a longer list of many really great, profound works out there that can help us become okay with the here and now. Learning to allow the quiet and to sit in that quietude. Meditation is a great key for this. Taking a walk and actually, turning the podcast off. I'm all about podcasts. I love YouTube channels. I love good educational information that's meaningful and substantive, that really has some substance to it. If I can get my face to work right and talk right. But, I love that stuff, right? A good podcast is awesome. But sometimes you need to shut it off and have silence and be okay in that silence. Sometimes when you're driving somewhere, turn the radio off, turn your music off, and just sit in silence and be okay with that silence. Sometimes we're on a walk and you do nothing but walk and just being okay in that quiet stillness. Learning to live in the here and now. So you can see these two things are juxtaposed. You can see there's a pattern in a lot of our videos. We do a lot of like this versus this because we're trying to help highlight certain things so you can see the differences. And when we see those differences, we can make some decisions. We're trying to empower choice with all of these dialectics that we share. So today's dialectic is avoidance versus sitting in our internal work. Avoidance versus being in the here and now. You might ask, how do I do this internal work so that I'm okay sitting in reality, leaning into life, pursuing the real, being okay with stillness, quietness, living in the here and now? How do I do that? Our value work really helps with that. Deciding and kind of building your compass that you live by, that helps with that. Definitely meditation. Things like yoga meditation, where you're really focusing on your breath, focusing on the here and now. In our martial arts practice, which ours is very traditional and old, great for self-defense, but it's also more than anything good for your mind. Sitting and having a nice long meditation session where you're focusing on your breath, maybe listening to some white noise or a singing bowl, but really sitting and clearing your mind. One of the greatest tools you can pursue that will help you with your internal work is the letting go method, which all of our coaches teach. Letting go is the opposite of holding on. It's one of those dialectics we talk about. It's a choice we make deep in our hearts and in our minds to let go of old garbage that we're holding on to. Most of those avoidant behaviors that we see there, when they're at a problem level, there's something you're holding on to that you haven't let go of. There's something unfinished in your life that you haven't reconciled. There's some conversation you haven't had that you needed to have. There's some dream in you that you've had deep in you, and you've been like talking yourself out of it your whole life. And so you don't do the dream. And so you're constantly avoiding what needs to be your reality, which is this thing inside of you, your passion that you've been telling yourself you'll never be able to meet. So when we let go, we can start facing those things. And when we embrace the core principles that we really want to live by, we can become empowered to live in the real and to make our reality as beautiful as you would like it. So those are a few thoughts we have on this dialectic between avoidant behaviors and the internal work that needs to happen to live in the present moment. So we recommend doing the internal work. Coaching is great for that. Appropriate counseling is great for that. Talking to a dear friend over the phone and going on a walk with them in the woods can be great for that. There's a lot of ways to do this. The most important thing is that you do your internal work. Sit in your reality and make your reality better by letting go of the things in the past that are holding you down and pursuing your real passions in the here and now. Thank you for your time. Like this video if you liked it. Give us some thoughts in the comment section below. We have more to come as always. Thank you for your time and have a great day.